morning, everybody. Algo Cowboy here. It is 8:30 a.m. EST, Friday the 4th, and we are looking at Bitcoin on the screen. Let's jump right into it if you want. To find out what we do, or go to our website, zap the QR code on the top right-hand side of the screen, or just go to algofactory.tech. We teach people how to be traders and how to build their own trading algo, right? Their own trading method. Don't have to know. Y'all don't know. You do not know have to know. Oh my God. You don't have to know how to code or any of such things. It can all be done manually if you want to. Okay, so we've got the liquidity here on the screen. This is Bitcoin, by the way. So Bitcoin has been ranging, really going back to August. You could even say, well, shoot, it's really been ranging going back to March. It's ranged, but it's been this kind of step down, lower highs, lower lows. And then if you go back to about July, it's been more of a sideways look, right? So it really stopped headed down. There was that panic in August with the Japanese yen. And then, of course, it has been actually having higher highs and higher lows ever since. We may have just witnessed a higher low. It's possible. It may be that is higher low. It may be that it goes lower. That's actually the tricky part right now. That's what everybody wants to know is it going to go back down or not? Well, I can tell you right now, we talked about this yesterday, where it might stop at this kill zone, this area where in the past price was heading up. Well, let me make that a little more visible. Give me just 1 second. Let's go ahead and do this. Do that, und that. Ja, we're going to do that. Yeah. Going to change the arrow. So it's where we head up. We take a pullback right there, and then we keep going up, right? So as price moved from early September to late September, there was a pullback. And in that pullback, most likely that's where price was going to go to gather some liquidity on the way up. Now, it might be that it doesn't continue up. It might be that price heads back down. But as it stands right now, if we look at this as a possible like sort of continuation situation where price was going up, pulls back temporarily, and then starts to go up again, well, that would mean that price might go up and grab these liquidity boxes, right? You have some liquidity here from 63,000 to 63,000, basically 64,000. And you have a little bit here up around 66,000 to 66.5. And price could easily head up there and grab those. As it stands right now, we do have some algorithmic evidence that this may happen. It could do that. It might have to crawl sideways first before it heads up. It might head up. And of course, it might not do that at all, right? Things are not 100% predictable in markets. Otherwise, you couldn't really make any money because everybody would know where it's going and markets wouldn't exist. So, the fact that markets are not really 100% predictable is why money could be made. Yep. So right now, though, what's gone on is that price kind of wanted to head up and grab this liquidity, it appears, and it's stalling out, right? On a lower time frame, it's stalling out. So basically you have price headed down, bounced off this kill zone that we talked about, and then started to head up, but now is finding some resistance on a lower time frame. So it may kind of sideways crawl, and it might head up. But this liquidity here, right here, all these boxes that you see here, there, and there, those can go away, right? Those are not static. In fact, even since I drew them yesterday, they changed, right? All these are liquidations on exchanges, on derivatives exchanges. So as people take off their trades or put on more trades, those change. So that being said, what we do have is, if I were to simply guess what was going to happen, it would look like what I just drew, right? That makes the most sense to me. It might not wag as long as this. It might only just go up after this. It might not need to sideways crawl. So it might look like this right here. That could be, it's possible. It may not happen. We'll see about it, right? So, like I said, it could go down, it could do any number of things, but right now this looks like it makes sense, right? It looks like it makes sense. Now, if this liquidity gets taken off, right? If for whatever reason the market thinks price is going to head up, all these traders start to take off their trades, then there's going to be less reason for price to jet up to this area. It might be headed up naturally, but this area won't be the same kind of target. We'll have to see that as it happens. So as it stands, if I were playing with Bitcoin, I might expect to see and this, I don't have this yet. Maybe on a low time frame. Let's jump down lower. And remember, in this area, as you can see, let me go back to the screen. Sorry about that. In this area, right in this zone, I'm flat. As long as price is between 60,000 and 67,000 ish, I'm not bullish. I'm not bearish. I'm just in the middle. Overall, I do think we will go above the all-time high. I think that the top is not in. There's always the possibility that it is, because anything is possible. I'm not saying the top's in. I'm not saying the top's not in. I'm saying my money is on the top, not in yet, and price going a bit higher before the bull market is done. And this is just based on what the bull markets have done in the past. It just seems the price needs to gather some steam before it heads up. Remember, we are in October. It tends to be green, especially during the halving years. So typically price goes up. We've only had 4 halvings ever. We only have 3 prior halvings to look at. Not like there's a lot of data. So we don't want to base our thesis on that too much, but that is what most people think. And that's why they think it. Really, that's it. Most people who think the top is not in are thinking that because they're looking at the prior halvings and how price behaved, right? So I'm not really one for hopium. I'm not big on hopium, but I have a couple of other indications that I use for the top being in. Some of its price action. Another one is an indicator, and those haven't pinged yet either. So either of those, any of the reasons that I think the top is in, those just haven't happened yet. So that said, let's take a look real quick, lower time frame, at what might happen over the next couple of days. I think we might see possibly a little bit of a range kind of fill up right here and form up. It's not there yet. I don't know that I'm comfortable treating this as a range just yet. I mean, it's kind of formed. It's kind of there, but we might see price wag around in here before it heads up. If it heads up at all. I mean, it did try to head up and got pretty rejected here back. Look at this candle with that wick in the middle here. And this was Wednesday, 9 a.m. Price tried to go up and grab whatever liquidity was up there, if there was any at that time. And then it got rejected and pushed down, but then it also got pushed back up. So at this point, the market is just kind of trying to figure out which way it wants to go. All right, that's Bitcoin beat to death. Good morning, Diane. Diane, I am so glad to hear from you. We had a couple of us who, I'll have to tell you in the background, like we were wondering if there's any way to possibly, find you. I'm glad you're okay after the hurricane. If that's the same Diane that we're talking about. So I really appreciate you reaching out and let us know that you're okay. We miss you. All right. It's good to have you back. So that's that. Let's take a quick look at the indices before we go over to the private live lab. We only have probably time to look at the SP 500, and it looks much like Bitcoin. The markets are a bit trepidatious overall right now. So that means they're scared. Markets are a little bit nervous. So you're going to see some ranging price action. The strike, the port strike, was kind of punted a little bit. They did negotiate a pay raise. Because the whole world would fall apart if they didn't. Now they are talking about a future negotiation further down the road about what it's going to look like for automation. I got that from a buddy of mine who works in supply chains. So basically, I don't know, maybe that's in the newspaper too. But long story short, a couple of the things they were negotiating in the strike had to do with pay raises, which the workers got, like a 60 some odd % pay raise. And then they wanted to talk about automation, right? And so long story short, all those things kind of put the market into a we don't know what the hell is going to happen mode. And so there's that. There's Israel, is pretty crazy. Looks like some news just came in as we're speaking. This is the SP 500. That just took a nice big move up. I guarantee you Bitcoin did just the same thing. Let's take a look at what news came out just right now, and then we'll flip over to the live lab. Hourly earnings, non-farm employment change, unemployment rate. I guarantee you unemployment probably went up, non-farm employment change probably went down, and hourly earnings probably went down. But let's go ahead and when I say went up, went down, I'm talking about compared to the estimates, right? Okay, so earnings went up. So that's actually interesting that the market should go up, but they didn't go up very much. The non-farm employment change, that was actually a lot stronger than expected. And I'm surprised that everything is, all of this is all like positive news. And yet the market is going up. That's not typical. Usually when news is positive, the markets actually fall, but it might be because we're cutting rates now that's different. So I don't know. That's very much the opposite effect of what I expected. but a pretty strong little tick up on the SP 500, and I expect price to just range and maybe go up at this point. I mean, algorithmically, everything is pretty bullish. That's on the 3 hour. And let me just kind of take a quick look at the algos before we flip to the private live lab. Yeah, everything's pretty bullish. On the daily, price was kind of pulling back. On the weekly, it's pretty strong. So this is what I expect with the SP 500. I expect it to range around either just above or just below 57. So this all-time high that we hit like a week ago, I think price is going to rotate between that, which is the all-time high being 5,800 or so, and then you have the low above the prior all-time high basically being about 57. So 58.30 to 57.20. I expect price to kind of rotate there until it makes a decision. And whatever decision it makes, I think it's going to be bullish. I think we're going to break the all-time high, and I think it's going to happen maybe early or midweek next week. So we're going to flip over to the private live lab over on Telegram. Come over to algofactory.tech. We teach people, as I said at the beginning of the show, how to become traders. We teach them how to build their own trading method. And again, you don't have to. Wow, I really just can't freaking talk today. Via the Guerilla, let's have him kick us over to the private lab. This.
What?
Yeah, you just came on right as I was going to bring to the people to that private live lab, and I'm just like one of my mornings where I'm just blah, 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 can't talk. So can you get?
Yes, I'll try my best. Listen,
right,
guys, largest wealth transfer in human history is about to take place. It's going to be done right to the markets. That's where you'll be able to grab a lot of these profits. How do you think wealthy people move their funds? It's done through the markets, man. So do you want to get paid or do you want to get played? That's what it is. You want to get paid or you're going to allow the global situations and life circumstances to play you.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Did you just make that up?
Yeah, I did.
That's pretty fucking awesome, dude. Oh, excuse my language.
I'm poetic and a bit of a Renaissance man, but yeah. So that's it. Listen, join us or die, you crazy fools. Join us or die.
Join us or die.